man.
Yeah.
You know, two manner of people shall be separated.
Yeah.
You know, two different spirits.
That's
right. And it says, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people. Who is stronger today?
And
when you
that's
really think about it.
Yeah, and that's in all aspects, both physical, mental, and emotional.
Yeah.
If you think about the spiritual strength that we needed to go through slavery and still be here and like still dominate our surroundings, when you take that into account, that's very serious. North American Indians, they almost got genocide. Like I think it was 96% of them were wiped out.
98%.
98%. Hey man, 98% of them were wiped out.
But they're here today.
And they're still thriving today. That's very like you have to take into account. That takes a lot of strength to be able to do that.
Yeah. And and also just physically,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right?
The type of
so-called black man is stronger than the so-called Caucasian, just physically.
Yeah. And that's why in slavery, that's why in slavery, the Negroes that were more Negroes that were bigger were actually you had like an average price for all Negroes that was pretty high, just because they're all strong, they're best conditions. But if you had a Negro that was double the strength of a natural Negro, you'd be double the price. Double the price, right? So it shows you that even back then, the Caucasians, they knew that these guys were stronger than them, that we were stronger than them. That's why they had us build their society instead of them doing it themselves.
And it says,
among other reasons too.
Yeah. It says, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger.
Elder shall serve the younger.
And when her days were to be delivered was fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb.
That's right.
And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment.
But guess what?
And they called his name Esau.
Esau. Red doesn't mean like blood red, but Caucasians, when you look at them, they're not actually white.
Yeah.
They're pink. They're more red.
They call themselves white. This is white.
This is
Right? This board is white.
Yeah.
But when you look at them, right?
Yeah.
Hence why the name Esau means what? Aishashua, right?
Wasted away he is.
Wasted away he is. That's why, they don't have any melanin in their flesh. That's why when they go out there in the sun, they burn. But guess what? We just get darker, but you know what? We get vitamin C from the sun. But they get cancer and they die. You know what I mean? Honestly.
Right? But yeah.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
Wasted away he is. Wasted away is he. Wasted away, because right? Because
the melanin in his flesh.
Yeah.
Because back then, everybody was of some kind of shade of brown.
Yeah.
Right. So when Esau came out, people were like, "Yo, you look weird."
Yeah.
Because you're not of a shade.
Like an albino.
Albino.
Yeah.
Almost.
It's like,
and in today's time, you see an albino, you're kind of like, "Oh, huh. What's going on with that?"
Yeah.
The funny thing on that too, when you it's a curse. When you
It's a curse.
Oh, it's a curse. That's another topic though. It is a curse. Yeah. When you look up the word human, the etymology of it, hue, meaning it means color, of color. Man means man.
Right.
So man of color. Technically, a human would be an actual human according to the definition of that word. Would be a man of color.
Yeah, and guess what?
That's why when people saw them, they're like, he almost looks like he's inhuman. Okay, he doesn't have any color to him. And color, which we mean like shade, because everybody was made from the ground.
Yeah, like it says,
Right.
It says in the scripture that Adam was made from the ground. When you look at the soul of the ground, guess what? It's dark brown.
Yeah.
And it's different shades of brown.
Yeah.
But like the deep souls of the ground, it's dark.
Yeah.
And that's what Adam was made out of. Yeah, from the dirt, exactly. Because you know what? They say what? Every single element found in the human body is found in the earth.
Yeah.
We're actually made from the earth.
Yeah. And there's like 28 our 28 base, the 28 base elements of a human are also found in the earth. Like our natural, because like we have consumed chemicals from over the years of the society and from food and
chemtrails.
the chemtrails stuff, but the the foundation of a human being, 28 elements of that human being have come from the earth. You can find them in the earth. You know, just further on that.
Yeah, exactly. And it says what? And when her days were to be delivered, were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, and the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau.
It's funny too because these so-called white people, they call North American Indians red.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
they're not red, they're brown.
yeah, they're just a lighter shade of
Yeah,
brown.
redskins are on that.
Yeah, which means which means that they're trying to get rid of which means that they're trying to get rid of a way of that name,
Yeah.
and push it onto other people
Yeah.
when that's actually them.
Because they're
you know?
ashamed.
Yeah,
They're
because
ashamed.
because when you really look at them, when they blush, they turn red. When they're cold, they turn red. When they're angry, they turn red. You know what I mean? It's honestly the
Yeah,
truth.
it's just the truth.
It's the truth. It's them. You know what? But because, right? But because they rule the world right now,
Yeah.
they have the power to be able to, label people as such. Say, oh, you're black. Well,
They take what was put on
right,
them to
right.
put on other people.
Yeah, what is black? When you really look at the word black, it's synonymous with death, darkness, right? Wickedness. It's not white, which white represents pure, clean,
Righteousness. Yeah.
righteousness.
Yeah.
But they put that label on them. Colors have a different spirit on them. When
Yeah.
you think of white, you think of holy. That's why, guess what? That's why when a woman gets married, she wears a white dress.
Yeah.
There's a reason why she doesn't wear a red
Why would
dress
she wear
or
a
a
black
blue
one?
dress or a black dress, right?
Yeah,
right?
and you laugh because right? It's like,
Right?
but when you go to a grave, everybody wears
black.
Wears black.
Because black
It's a
represents
vibration.
death.
Yeah.
But that's what they want people to know as us as these are very angry.
Yeah, you're evil, exactly.
You're evil.
Right?
You're darkness.
It's crazy. Right? I know, and that's it tells you, and that's just scratching the surface of their wickedness.
Yeah, that's just the basics.
That's like scratching the surface. So you would imagine like
The
how,
things that they do behind
yeah,
their back, yeah.
the things they do behind their back, behind the curtain, so to speak.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But guess what? Everything is in the scriptures, and the things that were prophesied, that were prophesied of them is in the scriptures.
I'm Matthew, Jesus' disciple.
Can you read?
I'm
See, that's spiritual.
Caroline.
It's
But that's because that's what some people
hold on
do.
a second, man. Continue
Okay.
reading your saying.
Yeah.
Finish up that.
Okay.
scripture.
And it says,
Take care.
No.
it
I'm
says,
busy right now. Leave me alone.
Oh, there. Read that. Fucking read.
oh, it's like it,
See, it's Satan, spiritual. Because you're getting understanding
Yeah,
of
but
the
then
truth,
at the same
but
time-
spiritually, there's being distractions.
Yeah.
And you gotta look at that, because that's not a coincidence. Him
Yeah.
coming out of nowhere, that happening, it's not a coincidence.
Like
It's
everything
just-
is spiritual.
Yes,
Everything is really
exactly. It's to distract you
Yeah.
from getting this understanding.
Yeah.
Which shows you how important it is for you to understand this.
And you know what? The scripture says in the book of Matthew not to stand in the streets, and to do that right there. That's actually not righteousness. That's wickedness.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's like it. It says,
And there's noise now. Go ahead.
verse 26, and after that came his brother, came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob.
Okay.
And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare him. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter,
Man of the field.
a
hunter.
man of the field. And
Sorry.
Yeah.
And a funny thing about that is, yeah, go ahead.
Can we do that one more time?
Yeah.
Right? It says, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter.
Yeah, and you know what? The thing is, so he was a man of the field, a cunning hunter. In today's time, these so-called white people do all the hunting. They even so much so, they love it so much that it's a sport. They do it for sport.
Which is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Now,
You kill them for just a sport.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's because you know what? It's in their spirit,
Yeah.
all the way back to then.
It's not for food.
It's not the food for at that
Exactly.
point, right?
You know-
That's dishonorable.
Yeah, and you know, like when they took down the so-called Native American Indians, they also slaughtered majority of the buffaloes that the Native American Indians would feed off of. You know,
Yeah.
because it's in their spirit. That's why it says Esau, right? And it says, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the fields, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents.
Now take this in. Now this is funny. When you look at Negroes, you know, one thing that we always like to do is just chill.
You know,
Just chill out in the house
at
and
the
relax,
house.
right?
Just chill, relax. You know, like it's true.
See it. See, it's just spirits. It's just spirits.
Yeah.
Spirits jump on people to distract you from Negroes. But you know, that's why, like, you know, going to school, going to work, doing a job, or being out there in the field, you have to kind of push Jake to do that. Push us to do that, because we naturally just like to chill out.
Yeah, we just want to
It's in our
relax.
spirit. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
in our
that's why it
spirit.
says. Yeah, you know, that's why it says. And Jacob was a plain. He was simple. He
He's
was
simple.
plain.
Just chill
All he
out.
wanted to do was just chill at the house. You know, have his food and relax. Because
Yeah.
guess what? You know, it's in a. You know, it's actually in our spirit. And Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Right? It says, and Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison.
Yeah.
But Rebecca loved Jacob.
And guess what? We're all mama's boys.
Yeah.
Heavy.
Rebecca loved Jacob, you
Yeah.
know?
Because
Which-
Negroes are heavy mama's boys because their fathers were never in the house anyways,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that goes back to a curse that was bestowed on us
Yeah.
from the Most High.
So how do you lift the curse then?
Well, the curses are being lifted right now by coming back to your truth. Now, overall, the Lord is slowly lifting off the curses, and it's going to happen soon. Because if you look at the state of the society as a whole, the world is crumbling heavy. So as soon as Yahushua comes here, which is this man, right, the Son of the
Yeah.
Most High, then the curses have been completely lifted. You know,
Yeah.
but we're living out these curses because of what we did wrong to the Most High. Because even though we get on Esau, our people are wicked. They are wicked.
Yeah.
Our people are wicked, and that's why we're in the state that we're in now, because
Yeah.
the Most High is punishing us
Yeah.
for what we did in our past
Hey,
life.
kind of, and it's just as simple as if you have a child, right, and your child disobeys your command, you will discipline that child, right? Right? It's why? Because you want him or her to know what is right and what is wrong, and what to do and what not to do later on, right? It's discipline, right? It's the same thing, right? If your child goes, you know, and steals something, you whoop his behind because he should not be doing that, right? It's pretty much, you know, like a learning thing, right? And that's the same thing. We are the Lord's children, and when we go off, He disciplines us, and His, you know, and the Lord's way of, you know, doing that may not be what you think. It's just, you know, like a whipping stick.
Yeah.
You know, the Lord's way might be slavery. You know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Lord's way might be, you know what, like, you know, I'm gonna take the father, you know, out the household. You know,
Yeah.
because you know what?
It's severe. It's
Yeah,
serious.
exactly. Because you know what, the Lord, He does not work according to what we think. His thoughts are greater than our thoughts, man. You know, the Lord is to be feared. In other words, He's not what you think is, you know, someone that, you know, like, you know, right? Like, you know, the Lord is not someone that you can disobey, right? You need to have, you know, you need to have, like, you know, yeah, you know what? You need to have, like, some level of fear, you know, towards your parents, because your parents are not your friends.
Yeah, because
Right?
fear,
You can't be friends with your child.
That's right.
Because guess what? Right? Because
Yeah,
guess
go
what?
ahead.
You know, your child will start to, like, you know, I'm gonna treat you like their buddy.
Yeah.
They start talking shit to you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's the same thing, man.
A core element of respect is
Yeah.
fear.
It's fear.
A core element of respect is fear. And I know that from just, if I think about my childhood, the reason why I listened is because I was fearful of what could happen.
Yeah.
And that made me a better kid. But when I didn't listen, it's because, like, I didn't care. I didn't thought of what could happen.
Consequence.
You know, or rather, I might have thought of them. I just didn't fear the consequences. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, like, I've been in situations where I did know the consequences, but I didn't fear them enough to do what I was supposed to do. Until when they hit me like with a sack of bricks, and I was like, holy shit, I never got to do this stuff again.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So, that, you know, there's also that.
Exactly. I mean, like,
Yeah.
Spare the road and spoil the child, huh?
what's
Yeah,
that?
oh, yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, you shouldn't be spoiling kids.
Oh yeah, like it says.
Actually, when you have a child, in here, when you have a child,
Yeah.
when they're in that stage of being just born and maybe up to 12, and for a man, you actually have to be ruthless in a sense to them.
Yeah, because they don't know what is right and wrong.
Exactly.
They instill it.
Exactly. So that when they leave, when they grow up and they leave the household and become adults, they act out in this world with the foundations of your teachings
Yeah.
when they were kids.
If they don't have the right teachings, they go to jail.
Exactly. Steal,
Yeah.
rape, rob, murder. You know, all types of things.
Yeah, I got a scripture. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 30.
It's like it. And to have the right teachers, you need both parents. Not just both, but you need the head and the partner of the head, which is the father's the head of the family. Then you need a woman to help.
Yeah, which that's what that word woman means. You
Yeah,
know,
it
and
means
helpmate.
helpmate.
You know, that's why God created Eve to be a helpmate unto Adam.
Yeah.
You know.
Not to control Adam,
Yeah.
or to be
Like,
above
to be
him,
the
or
head.
to be equal,
Yeah.
like feminism is
Yeah.
going about saying today,
Yeah.
right? And it's just
Now
the
it's
truth.
going the other way with feminism and all that crap.
It's
that's-
crazy. And that's why we need a restart.
That's what happens when you give too much to children.
Yeah.
Because women are just like children.
Yeah.
They are in a sense. They really are. You know, like it's hard to find a woman that you look at and have experience and you can't attribute her to a child in one way or another. Right?
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 30. I'll start from verse 1 actually. He that loveth his son causeth him oft to feel the rod, that he may have joy of him in the end. So if you love your son, you're gonna whoop his ass. Why? Because honestly, bro, right? Why? Because you want to have joy of him. You want to see the final product of what you produce as a father.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it says, he that chastise his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance.
I always say, if you can't hear, you'll feel.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's right. Verse 3. Verse 3, right?
Like that, yeah.
He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy.
Who's the enemy now?
Yeah.
The
Why?
school system.
Yeah.
The school man.
Yeah.
Yes, the education system for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. Why? Because guess what? These children at grade 2, grade 3, they're being taught
Yeah.
that if your father whips you, call 911.
Call me. If your father is hurting you, call me.
Yeah.
Like basically,
Now,
yeah.
The parents can't really go against what the school
Exactly.
say.
The parents can't raise their child.
No.
Yeah.
That's
The
crazy.
child is being
Right?
raised by the system.
And on
Yeah.
top of that too, and that's also why a child will spend 6 to 8 hours, 6 hours without any extracurriculars.
Yeah.
And not to mention if they're passing all their classes. 'Cause if you're failing, you're going to be
Yeah.
in class for another hour, getting tutorism and all that kind of stuff. But they spend 6 hours in school,
Yeah.
and then another 2-3 hours because of sports, and
Yeah.
then come home. Don't interact with their parents because they have phones, they have games, they have TV.
Yeah, they got
The parents,
homework and all that crap.
exactly. So now they have maybe 1 hour with their parents, and the parents are already so tired that is there any learning in that hour? No. So so the system is
Have
teaching.
a babysitter after that.
Yeah, you have a babysitter. It's like, man, they're doing everything they possibly can to stop you from teaching your children because it grieves the enemy.
Yeah.
And the enemy is the so-called white people, but the higher echelons of them.
Yeah.
The banking family, the elites. These guys are the ones that run everything.
That's right. Yeah.
Right?
It says, he that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Though his father died, yet he is as though he were not dead, for he hath left one behind him that is like himself. While he liveth, he saw and rejoiced in him, and when he died, he was not sorrowful.
And it makes sense too, because if you look at war in these war movies, when you had two people going at it, two kings going at it, and they were enemies of each other, they wouldn't just kill, the one king wouldn't just kill the king, he would kill his sons and his children because they don't want any offspring to come and to overthrow him. So these banking families, they see us teaching our kids the right things, the truth. And what they do is they get fearful of what if this happens enough times, enough people will grow and will overthrow us. They don't want to lose their powers.
Like, and that's the exact same thing that happened in Egypt when when a pharaoh, he was fearful that the Israelites were going to multiply and then join unto the other people and then fight them. That's why they pretty much they weren't like in the time of Egypt. They had a law to go out there and to kill the children of Israel, the children, because they were afraid that they're gonna multiply and then fight against us later. But anyways, it says verse 6, he left behind him an avenger against his enemies.
An avenger
against his enemies. And it says, and one that shall requite kindness to his friends. He that maketh too much of his son shall bind up his wounds, and his bowels will be troubled at every cry.
That's right.
And it says, an horse not broken becometh headstrong, and a child left to himself will be woeful. A child left to himself will be woeful.
Yeah.
Because
Which
guess
means
what?
He'll do whatever he wants.
If he wants to eat Skittles for 30 days, if he's by himself, he will
Breakfast,
do that.
lunch, and dinner, he'll do it.
And he'll slowly die.
Yeah.
Because a child doesn't know.
Sorry, do you have the time by any chance?
No.
Huh.
3:20.
3:20, okay.
Verse 9, it says, conquer thy child, and he shall make thee afraid. Play with him, and he will bring thee to heaviness.
One thing, I personally have an experience from this. When I was growing up as a kid, when I first came to Canada, my dad, he would beat me with the rod and the belt because I was a bad kid. Now, when I started hanging out with white people a lot, and I would go to their house, man, I would hear them. I will never forget this. My first white friend here in Canada, I heard him call his mother by his first name, father by his first name, and was like, fuck you, Mary. And I was like, holy crap. And I immediately thought, okay, you're gonna get your ass beat. His mom sent him to his room for a timeout where he had all the video games, his snacks, and his bed. I was like, what in the world? That's when I knew there was a difference. And I tried to take that stuff home. Oh, I almost lost a leg. I had to sit on a pillow for a damn month. And my ass was so sore. But that's an example of that. That's an example of that. If you eventually, that's why sometimes you have cases of kids who physically beat up the parents to get what they want.
And then murder their children.
Murder them too. And that's, as rough as it sounds, that's all due to the parent. That's the parent's fault. Okay, you didn't instill the fear early. You try to, and that's why sometimes you'll have men who were out of their children's lives come back when they're 25 and try to teach them something.
Too late.
Way too late. He's already become a man in his own right.
At the age of 12, that's when they actually become a man.
Yeah, age of 12. Age of 12 is when a child, for boys, it's age of 12. For women, or for girls to become women, it's like 9, 10, and 9, 11 age. Can they get their period?
Like at age of I'm 12 to 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they become more mature than men.
Say it again, sir?
They become a lot more mature than men.
Yeah, absolutely. They have to be at that point because they're gonna technically their body is gearing them. You're talking about women, right?
Yeah.
Technically, their body is gearing them to have children already, right? And it's like biologically happening. So what happens is the chemicals are doing that, and that actually reconstructs their mental state too, right? So now they have to think a lot more mature. And now they have to look at each man and say, okay, do I want to bear his kids? Oh, he doesn't have a job.
And
he drinks all day. Is he going to protect me and my kids?
Yeah.
I've seen him beat up a woman before. All these kind of things.
Yeah, because
he's emotional, this, and that, and the third, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because women, they look for protection. They look for protection and someone that has power. That's it.
And naturally, someone which naturally makes them what will make a man mature. In today's, in today's society, there's nothing, in my opinion, there's nothing more, there's nothing that will teach a boy to become a man than experiencing a woman. Right? And I mean that because she will test him on every turn. And we all know this. We've all been through it. On every turn, when you're being emotional, it's gonna backfire on you because you're gonna see her, how she acts, and she's gonna call you out on it. She's gonna call you out it in thousands of ways because they can think like that.
Yeah, because like literally, like the woman that you're with is really a reflection of your character and who you are. Honestly, because guess what? Women, they actually they gravitate to the vibration of the man, because women are to be controlled. That's literally their nature. They are to follow. They're they are to follow.
Just like
they were actually created to follow the man. The man is the head, the man is the leader. And so a woman will, right? That's why, if you have a girlfriend or whatever, maybe like a few months later, she starts to wear your hoodie, you know what I mean? Your pants or whatever, you know what I mean? Why?
Talk like you a little bit.
Yeah,
You start hearing your slang in her mouth, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's because that's their nature, like you were saying.
Exactly. They follow the man. That's just their nature. They are the man's, rib or whatever.
It's rib.
The rib or whatever. But going back to the child. It says right here, verse 10, laugh not with him, lest thou have sorrow with him, and lest thou gnash thy teeth in the end.
Something interesting about that is that, my dad, he was always very all-staring with me as a young child. I barely laughed with him, barely. Well, that's because I was dumb. I was doing bad things, and I wasn't. I didn't understand what he understood. We would have some laughing moments, but it was only time we laughed is when I understood what he was talking about. So that's why when you get older, you usually see people become closer with their parents when they're more adults. They actually then, and I think that's when it's okay to laugh with to laugh around with them as more often as you would with your friends. Because now they're adults, they understand the way the world works and all this kind of stuff, right?
That's right.
You have nowadays, man. You have grown women, like mothers, and grown men, fathers, who are trying to be buddy with their kids right out the gate, and then get upset and are confused as to what went wrong when they get older and they have all these problems, emotional problems, psychological problems, or in jail or doing this,
Verse 11, give him no liberty in his youth, and wink not at his folliness.
So, sometimes, my ex, she had nieces and nephews, and her sister, being the mother, didn't have a father in the house and would just spoil the crap out of those kids. Now, over time, as I got comfortable with her, and with that family, I started to actually correct those kids because that's just Satan. I tried to correct them because they were spoiled brats. The grandmother would cook for them when the mother's at home, babysit them, do all these things for them, and they would call her by her first name and throw things at her when they're angry. And at one point I grabbed them, what are you doing? And they got all shook. And they told their mom, and their mom freaked out. It's only because they're not used to being disciplined. Those kids are only at the age of 7 and 9. What happens when they're 16, 20? Oh, the next person they're going to be turn on is the mother. And it's them that's what she realized.
This is the point right here. Anyways,
Satan's working. How you know this is good? Satan's working. This hasn't happened in a long time.
But anyways, it says here, verse 11, give him no liberty in his youth. Give him no liberty in his youth, and wink not at his folliness.
Yeah.
Now this is the point. Bow down his neck while he is young. Bow down his neck while he is young, and beat him on the side while he is a child, lest he wax stubborn and be disobedient unto thee, and bring sorrow to thine heart.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Chastise thy son and hold him to labor, lest his lewd behavior be an offense unto thee.
Yeah,
So
man, make him work.
Make him work. Make them busy. Don't make them, just sit there and play video games all the time, because then guess what? Now they become willful.
Yeah.
Now they think that they can do whatever they want.
That's right.
You put them to work. You make them go cut the grass.
You want a new game? How much is it? $80. Okay, go start selling paper.
Go work
start,
for it.
Yeah, go work for it. Newspaper routes. Yeah.
Do this and do, like
I was doing
that.
the newspaper route when I was young. But that forced me to do that in the winter time. I hated it then. Oh, did I hate it? And I hated him for it. But now that I'm older, I get it.
Exactly. And it says, to that was it on that one.
That was
That
it.
was on that one,
Yeah. But yeah, that was a lot. But it's something that the society is scared of is us teaching our kids the right things.
Yes. Well, I guess I should go one more.
All right, man.
It's
Take
nice
care.
talking to you.
Absolutely, man. We'll be here again next Sunday. Take care. So with that, we're gonna close up. We're gonna say Kal Hala Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai B'Hashem B'Chadash. Love and honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the elect, pushing His word and truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. Death and destruction to His many kingdom, 2/3 of Israel, and Esau as well. Shalom. Honestly, man, we